Selamat sore untuk para undangan yang berbahagia. Dimohon untuk segera berkenan menempati tempat duduk yang sudah disediakan oleh rekan-rekan panitia karena acara akan segera dimulai. Terima kasih. Selamat sore, good afternoon. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Sotihotu, salam kebajikan, rahayu. Kepada yang terhormat, Presiden Komisaris Rumah Sakit Nasional Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Angkokbin. Yang kami hormati, CEO Rumah Sakit Nasional Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Ang Hoi Tiong. Yang kami hormati, CIO Rumah Sakit Nasional Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Alexander Ang. Yang kami hormati, Direktur Rumah Sakit Nasional Hospital Surabaya, Dr. Hendra Hendri, Spesialis Obgyn. And to the Honorable our speaker today, Profesor Fushipan, MD, PhD.
Thank you.
Beserta seluruh undangan yang berbahagia. Please welcome to the Angkang Ho Auditorium National Hospital Surabaya to enjoy joining health talk about anti-aging plasma conditioning therapy with Profesor Fushipan, MD, PhD. Untuk mengawali acara yang luar biasa hari ini, mohon berkenan kepada CIO Rumah Sakit Nasional Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Alexander Ang, untuk memberikan sambutan. Kepada Bapak Alexander Ang, disilakan.
Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues and distinguished guests. Professor Pan, as CEO of Lotusbio Technologies, Mr. Angkok Bin, as President Commissioner of National Hospital, and Mr. Ang Hui Tiong as CEO of National Hospital. Today, November 4, 2024, we gather in gratitude for the opportunity to be here in good health. In a world driven by innovation, stagnation equates to regression. This MoU symbolizes National Hospital's commitment to progress, pushing boundaries and exploring new solutions to our problems. As we sign this agreement with Lotusbio Technologies Ltd, we are not just formalizing a partnership. We are igniting a movement to transform the healthcare industry and address our patients' needs. The introduction of anti-aging plasma conditioning therapy promises numerous benefits, potentially extending healthy life. Thank you for your support and for recognizing the significance of this collaboration. As we move forward today, let us carry the spirit of partnership that has brought us here. Stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander Ang. So that's opening our agenda. I'll talk about anti-aging plasma conditioning therapy with Professor Fushipan, MD, PhD. To honorable our speaker, Mr. Professor Fushipan, MD, PhD, this time is yours.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm glad to have the stage, but I would like to also have the screen as well, yeah? Here we go. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much. And because of, I want to thank your chairman, Amin, Mr. Hong, and the Pijung, Mr. Hong as well, Alex, and everybody I know, and to give me the opportunity to come to National Hospital Surabaya and to present it to you our innovations and our development of the current technology. And the topics of my title is very simple. It's called Anti-Aging Plasma Conditioning Therapy. And I intentionally highlight the word young in front of the plasma conditioning. So if you, after lunch, if you feel like you want to take a nap, it's okay, but just remember one thing, okay? I tell you the result of my talk. The result of my talk is we have a technology to make the old plasma, okay, old plasma younger. We have a technology, let me repeat just once more. We have a technology to make the old plasma younger. And because of this technology, this is a platform technology, we can use this technology and apply it to numerous applications, including interventional medicine. So this is my background, and the important thing here is not to just show you, how old I am, okay, because I did a lot of stuff, right? But the important thing the first thing I want to tell you is that other than most of the doctors here, most of the experienced and the distinguished doctors here, my background is a little bit awkward. I studied as a chemist, okay, in National Taiwan University. And after that, I went to University of Chicago and received my PhD in physical chemistry. Not organic chemistry, not biochemistry. I have a PhD in physical chemistry. And after that, I went to the medical school of University of Chicago, and I became a surgeon. And my specialty is plastic and reconstructive surgery, and with a specialized in craniofacial area. So, and after University of Chicago, I went to University of Pennsylvania, and there, in Pennsylvania, back in 1992, okay, back in 1994, I'm sorry, I began to participate in the first autologous bone marrow stem cell transplant for the treatment of the craniofacial deformity. So if we count it back, so today will mark the 30th year I begin to work on the stem cells. So I organized my talk for today as follows. So in the beginning, I will tell you one of the experimental technology called hydrochronic pyobiosis. And this is a very, very old technology. And because of this old technology, we are able to using modern scientific method to study this old technology and then begin to apply these materials into the various clinical applications. That's what we will be talking about, okay? So let's start with aging. And I'm sure most of the people here are familiar with the concept of population tsunami, the baby boomers, the aging disease, the hyperpressure, the cholesterol, especially in Indonesia, right? Almost everybody has high cholesterol. The importance of aging is not just because you can live longer or something. It's because aging is the single most and the second most and the third most causes of the disease. That's the take-home message. Aging causes disease. So instead of treating all these numerous diseases, which is resulted from the aging process, people begin to think, if we have a way to reverse the aging, then we will be doing one thing. By doing just one thing, that is to say, to reverse the aging, at the same time, we will be able to treat many diseases, okay? So instead of a shotgun approach, you're treating one disease at a time, like a traditional medicine, right? You go to neurology, you treat Parkinson's, you go to the heart doctor, treat cardiac failure, and you go to the orthopedics, treat the joint problems. What we are trying to do, maybe is over-ambitious. We are trying to treat the aging problem. By doing so, we are hoping we can manage dozens or thousands or hundreds of diseases at the same time at once. For the past 30 years, I have been on the stage and trying to preaching this concept, okay? But the problem is, what we are trying to do is a violation. It's a very serious violation, okay? Just like a drunken driving, okay? In terms of Western medicine. Because the traditional, the standard Western medicine follows the principle of one disease, one treatment, or one treatment for one disease. So for the insurance people, you are used to, say you have the ICD-9 code, right? So for this ICD-9 diagnostic code, you can go for whatever type of reimbursement. So this is the first obstacle we face for the past 30 years. The second thing is like this. Of course, you saw this is a lion there, right? But aging is just like a lion, okay? Because it's such a big problem. Everybody look at aging from a different angle. So some internists will look at the aging like a treatment of hyperpressure. Surgeons treat the aging like for the knee, as a knee replacement. And plastic surgeons talk about aging like doing double eyelids, right? So everybody think about aging, have their own definition and the perspectives of aging. Because of that, it's very difficult to come to a general consensus. What is aging and how to, we don't know what to treat because everybody is thinking about treating different things. To this date, after 30 years in the field of anti-aging, there are the only few things which I think people has general agreement which is related to aging. So the first, in my humble opinion, I think the number one determinant of aging is the mindset. It's the mindset. If you don't have a healthy attitude to face the problem of aging, you are an old man by definition, okay? If you don't have the right attitude to live younger, sit on the couch, you are an old man. So mindset is by far the most important thing. The second thing will be diet, okay? And I can talk about to you about dieting, for hours, especially in Indonesia. Right? People are almost like 90% of people I know has high cholesterol, and almost like 80% of people I know probably has high triglyceride, and 2/3 of people I know actually has a stent, and then 20% of the people I know had a bypass. Okay. So dieting is very, very important. And because of maybe genetic predisposition or just the nature of the food here in Indonesia, I think we need to find some other time to get into to address these important issues. The next thing will be exercise. And I can't help to stress, to tell you this, okay? Exercise is good, but too much is very, very bad, okay? And it's really no point for you to do exercise if you don't know how to do exercise, okay? So let me just ask one simple question, okay? If you have to do one exercise, if you only have to do one exercise, which part of the muscle should you be exercising with? Anybody want to make a guess? I only wait for 3 seconds. No, saying the thigh, right? No, it's not. The thigh will burn the most calorie. But if you only want to do one exercise, you need to exercise on your back, okay? upper back. That's the key. Okay, because a lot of aging process started up there. Anyway, we will find time to get into this. So among the psychological attitude, among the diet, and about the exercise, all those three are actually pretty cheap, right? Or even free, right? And as all of you know, free things are very expensive, right? It's very difficult, right? I mean, we are all friends when we are eating there, and it's very difficult for us to manage not to touch the piece of chocolate cake or something like that. I think all the free things are very difficult. As the result of not able to sustain this type of treatment, about the mindset, about the diet, or the exercise, that's the reason you always see this. In the States, when I was in Chicago and in Philadelphia, you see people, they've been jogging from they are 25 years old all the way for 20 years, and they are still pretty choppy, right? And you see this, okay? So you need to know how to do exercise, not just doing exercise, okay? So I just told you, it's very difficult to reverse aging, okay? It's very difficult for people to have a correct mindset and cut off 1/3 of the calorie and doing the right exercise, okay, all the time. It's very difficult. So is there anything easier for us to reverse the aging? The fortunately is we do have an answer, okay? The technology is called hydrochronic pyobiosis. The hetero means different. Chronic means time. Para means together. Biosis means living. So what it means is an old animal and a young animal living together. This technique is by so far the only experimental technologies that can exert the reversible of aging visibly, okay, and in a short time. So you can do experiments with the diet, okay, on the rat. It will take a long time before you see the result. You have to diet from today until you die, the day you die, by cutting off 30% of the calorie to extend your lifetime by 10%. And obviously, even Alex, it's very difficult for you, especially you're so young, right? You have to be dieting for a long, long time, okay? So let me give you a brief review of this technology. So technology is nothing that special, okay? It started in 1864. It's a French surgeon called Paul Bert. He managed to connect two mice together. Let's just stitch the skin of two mice together, okay? So, and with that surgical technique, experimental technique, Alexis Carrel of University of Chicago began to use this technique and apply it to vascular connections, okay? So he began to using vascular anastomosis instead of just stitching the skin together. By 1957, McVeigh is a surgeon, is a nutritionist in Cornell. So he used this technology by stitching one old animal with a young animal and using this model to study the effect of aging, okay? So if you think about it, what happened is when you're connecting an old animal and a young animal, so they can share the blood, right? So what you will be observing is that after 5 weeks, you will see the old animal become younger and the young animal become older. So for example, if I'm stitching Pichu with Alex, right? 5 weeks later, you will know Pichu will be very happy and Alex, you will be not so happy, okay? Okay? So this sounds like voodoo, right? And I'm sure you read about newspaper. People talk about this technology, in a various form, sometimes for marketing, sometimes for just entertainment purpose, okay? So a lot of the traditional or molecular biologists, okay, they think of this heterochronic pyobiosis almost like a voodoo, okay? It's like a game, like a witch's game, okay? It doesn't make sense until 2005. So that was another 50 years later. 50 years later, somebody in Stanford University called Thomas Randall. And this guy, he's basically the father of the modern heterochronic parabasis. And what he does is this. He used, because of the aging problem becomes so significant in the society, so Thomas Randall picked up this old technology and using new molecular science to study the effect of heterochronic parabasis on the muscle. So he published this very important paper in Science back in 2005. And after he published the paper and proved that heterochronic parabasis, basically the young blood can make the old muscle become young again. So people begin to follow his experiment, and within very short time, the same experiment was done to study the effect of young blood on the blood vessel, on the heart, on the brain, on the kidney, on the bone, what is this? On the liver, this is on the liver. And also study the effect on the immune system. So, regardless of you think of how you think of heterochronic parabasis, the effect or the mechanism or the science behind this technology has been proven. So the hope of resurrection, of become younger again, of organs become possible. Okay? So that was based on this experiment done in 2005. So it's really no argument about doing heterochronic parabasis on the rat to reverse the aging of an old rat. The question will be, the question remains is, how do you apply this technology on the rat clinically, in the human? That's the hard part. Okay? That's the hard part. So it's not hard part if you have an old dog, right? Or you have an old cat, and you want to make your old cat younger, you can just bring your old cat to me. I can find a young cat and then I stitch them together. And 5 weeks later, if you pay me money, I can give you your old cat back to you. That's not a problem, okay? We can have a business on this, right? And we'll write a BP on this. Okay. Then, from now on, we'll begin to talk about humans, right? So next question will be very simple. How can you connect old people with the young people? Is anybody knows? Is anybody in this room ever connected to a younger person? Somebody shaking head. No, I think somebody has done this, okay? Pregnancy. Right? So pregnancy is mother is old, right? The baby is what? Young, right? So pregnancy is the only humanoid model for heterochronic parabasis. So I always tell people, for men in this room, you are lucky, because if you want to live longer, it's very easy. Okay, I can easily make you live 10% longer by how? For men want to live longer, it's very simple. Just become a woman, right? Because women does live 10% longer than men, right? Okay, just remember this. I'm not joking with this, okay? So in terms of the effect of pregnancy on aging, the data are like as follows. For a woman who has the last baby at age of 45, as compared to a mother who has the last baby at age of 35. The first one, which has the last pregnancy at 45, will live to, the chance of the first one to live to 80 years old is higher by 50%, 50%. So what happens is, when women get pregnant in the last trimester, okay, the baby become bigger, about average 3 kilograms. So you can enjoy the effect of hydrochronic parables and become younger. At the expense of the baby become older, right? Okay, so that's the reason when the mother become old, the mother is older, the baby usually is not so healthy. So pregnancy is the one way you can do hydrochronic paralysis on the human, and the other one is like this. What is shown in this photo, we discussed about this last night, right? So basically, if you have a son which is between age of 15 and 18, or you have a daughter between age of 13 and 15, okay? And if you get along with your son and daughter, you can ask them to donate their blood for you to become younger, okay? On a monthly basis. You have to do it every month, okay? It's not so easy. So that's the reason we need to develop a technology and to make the old blood younger. That's the main topics we'll be talking about after this. And most of people is familiar with this concept of using a cell-based technology to make the body younger. And I had the chance to talk to several doctors before this talk, about the stem cell technologies, right? So people think about, I can infuse the stem cells into my body so my blood and my tissue will become younger, and that's the current popular concept on this. So we have several issues we need to discuss about this. So the first thing we need to discuss is where is the stem cell come from? From the patient itself or from another person? And we also need to know whether the stem cell is old or stem cell is young. And people talk about this, or the stem cell is from the bone marrow, is from the cord blood, is from the fat, or from the amniotic fluid and things like that. But these are not the true issues, unfortunately, okay? The true issues are as follows. In response to, I'm sorry, the name is too long, but anyway, to culture stem cell is really not a difficult thing, okay? It's not a difficult thing now. The stem cell has been discovered back in 1960s. So to this date, I can teach you probably any high school or junior high school student how to culture stem cells, okay, in about a week. So the true issues are, how do you apply these cultured stem cells in a clinical setting? So there are several issues we need to address. So stem cell technology is very mature technology, but the stem cell application are just in the beginning, okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is this. So if I can culture a bunch of stem cells in the lab, this is easy. But how do I use it is a difficult thing. And there are many, many things we need to discuss. The first thing is whether the stem cell will get to the old organ. The second thing will be whether the stem cell will survive in the plasma. And the third thing is whether the stem cell will cause side effects by dying, okay? So it's an effect some of the surgeons here will be familiar with. That's called reperfusion injury, okay? Ischemic reperfusion injury. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. If you have 100 stem cells, you buy 100 stem cells, and you infuse it intravenously, and 97% of them are dead. So the dead cells will release a lot of the free radicals. And instead of helping you become younger, the free radicals will come back to actually hurt you, just like over-exercise, okay? So this is something we all need to address. So how can we solve it? So we begin to use a cell-free technology, and that was based on what I just told you, hydrochronic biosis, this model. So this is the guy. He's a genius. His name is Alexis Carrel, and he's from the same medical school I went. Okay, so he was the Nobel Prize winner for 1906, and I think most of the surgeons here probably is aware of him or is using some of his technologies. And Alexis Carrel, back in 1906, he already proposed it. He already able to do this. So what he does is that he uses a chicken, the heart of a chicken, okay, a chicken. So he took out the heart of the chicken and put in a vicious dish, okay, for the round plate for cultures. And every week he tried to change the liquid, the heart, a chicken heart, soak it in, okay. So by doing this continuous, he's able to keep the old chicken heart alive for about 20 years. So he say, if it is not that the cell can live forever, but if you can continue to change the environment of the cell will be able to live for a long time. Okay, and he has shown this. And because of his observation, this is Dr. Paul Niehan in Switzerland. So he began to inject the cells and the tissue extracts from the lamb, baby fetal lamb. Like the people go to Germany, go to Switzerland, that's what they do. So, and the Pope, and some of the movie stars, they will get infusion on this. And the next one will be a Japanese company called the NEC. Back in 1971, they already begin to using the placenta extract to treat aging, okay? So what these people are doing is adding new and young material into the old body. They're adding young material into the old body. But what they forgot is this. They forgot to look into what Carrel said in the beginning. So it's not just adding the new material. You need to renew this fluid. So what renew mean is of fundamental importance if you want to do hydrocolonic bypass. Renew means make it fresh again. It's not just adding material into an old system, okay? So with this concept, and back in 2016, a Berkeley couple, they did a very, very important experiment. And that's probably the second take-home message you should have. This is, what they do is this. They took out the blood of the old animal and injected into the young animal. And just by one shot, the function of the young animal was shut down. So what it says is that the old plasma are toxic, in short. Okay, in Chinese means that 老血有毒. The old plasma are toxic. You need to remember this. So for young people like you guys, don't ever get old plasma into your body. Okay, you'll be old very quick. Okay. So based on this, a doctor in the San Francisco area, he began to using the plasma exchange machine called therapeutic plasmapheresis machine to do this, to do what they think. They can remove the old material, okay, and adding in the new material. And this is was carried continuously for about 10 years. And the one company called Grifols, I don't know whether it's available here. Grifols is one of the largest albumin maker in the world. Okay, it's in Spain. And what they do is that they use this technology and they do the plasma exchange on these patients continuous for probably 20 times on the Alzheimer patients, And the effect of these on the Alzheimer patients are as follows. The progression of the dementia was reduced by 70%, okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is, people always talk about Alzheimer's disease has no cure, right? Has no treatment. No, it's there. The only problem is the treatment is so complicated. You need to put a central line, right? Because you need to do plasma exchange every week for 20 times. So you can do it to manage the Alzheimer's disease. So somebody in this room, if you are rich enough and unfortunate enough to have Alzheimer's disease, this is the way you should go, okay? This is very well documented by a class 3B clinical trial. Obviously, nobody wants to do this every week, right? So we are trying to come up with something more practical. So this is where we come in, probably 10, 12 years ago in this research. So the first thing we identify is that if you want to do some research on aging, you need to have a benchmark. So otherwise, it will be just talking, right? So people doing diet, they say, okay, you will be younger by dieting. You will be stronger by this and that. So you need to have something which you can measure. So we call it a benchmark. The second thing is that because it's so difficult for people to get young blood, right? Young plasma. So we need to come up with some young plasma analog if we want to continue on this route of anti-aging technology. So these are all my friends in Taiwan, right? So this is one, we take this picture in one of our parties. So look at all these red wines, right? That's good, right? Wine is good, but plasma is better, right? Okay, so let me ask you a question, okay? Among all the doctors and the people working in the lab, right? So for example, these are their blood. And so what if the technician make a mistake and mess up them, right? How can you identify whose plasma is youngest? Anybody else? Do anybody can tell me how can you identify whose blood is the youngest? And if you can do that, then you can take my job, so I can retire. Okay. So the key words here, okay? So if you ever work in the lab, you will know if you want to culture the cells, right? You take the plasma on the fetal cow, right? If you want to culture, you want to grow the cells in the lab, you use something called the FBS, fetal bovine serum. If you use something like from a young cow, it doesn't grow as good. I never heard of anybody try to culture a stem cell or any type of cells using an old blood. It doesn't work like that. So this is what we find out. So we came up with an experiment or a design so we can measure the age of the plasma by using this different mixture of the human plasma and our formula. So if your plasma is very young, then the cell will grow very good. If the plasma is very old, then you need to add many formulas here to make the cell grow. Okay? So this is the benchmark. And with this technology, and subsequently last year in Indonesia, so we begin to get enough sample, okay, to use this same technology and apply it on the EPC. That is the stem cell for the repair of the blood vessel. That's how we do it, okay? So we solved the problem of benchmark. Now the next thing will be, how can you formulate a young plasma without the young blood? So the idea is very simple. You just go to the standard composition of the plasma. So you have so many things here, right? So, but it's very difficult to compound them one by one. So fortunately, this guy called Tony Whisker in Stanford University, he began to study the proteins of the young plasma and the old plasma. So for him, he analyzed 7,000 proteins of 3,000 people. And the age are between so they are pretty young. We should get some of their blood, their muscle. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that he analyzed about 3,000 protein. No, he analyzed 7,000 protein on 3,000 people. And the age of the subject are between 19 and 92, okay? The next slide is very important. So with that, so this x-axis is the age of the patient, and these are, on y-axis are the concentration of the protein. So he plotted out all those proteins. So what, in short, what he's trying to do is, he's trying to understand what's the difference between the young blood and the old blood. Okay? So he plot all these different proteins against time and come up with 8 different categories. So with that data back in mind, so you can look at this, right? So all of the cluster here, these top 4, 5, 6, all the first 6 clusters increase with age, right? And the last 2 clusters, that's cluster 5 and cluster 8, decreases with age. So in other words, that if you want to make the blood younger, you need to decrease the first 6 of them, right? Does that make sense? Let me try to do this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them increase with age. So if you want to make your blood younger, you need to decrease them, right? Make sense? Okay? So for these 2, decreases with age. Cluster 5 and 8 decreases with age. So if you want to make the blood younger, you need to increase them. Okay? So with his data, so the answer is there. So basically, if you have a way to increase the cluster 5 and 8 and decrease cluster 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, then you can make something similar to the young blood instead of begging Alex to donate his blood, okay? So it's complicated to do that. And we need to find an easier way to do this. So is there anybody still remember your chemistry in the university? No? Nobody, huh? Okay. So this is my professor when I was in university. This was me. So it's a big lab. So we begin to discuss about how do you do this in an easier way. So the first thing we do is that we come up with a mathematical model of heterochronic parabiosis. Then we try to break down the heterochronic parabiosis into small steps. It's just like doing calculus, if you remember, right? You have a big change, you break it down to small changes, okay? So the technology we use is we're using the bloodletting. So basically, withdrawing blood is legal, right? So if we take out 100 cc of blood and put in something each time, right, and do it once a month, then we are able to simulate the effect of heterochronic parabiosis. So this is the theoretical background on this. So let me just try to tell you in an easier fashion, okay? So you have so many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different type of protein. So if I draw blood from you, all of them will be decreased, right? Because I take them out, right? I throw it out, right? So after you're doing that, you accomplish the goal of reducing 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. But you also reduced 5 and 8. So by doing that, you need to add the 5 and 8 back on. So once you can do that, then you can create the young blood. So the next question will be, where can you get the cluster 5 and 8 proteins? Okay. So the answer is here. Okay. This is by a guy called Guy Ladybird, and he is the founder of the Circus du Soleil, the circus, right? Yeah, and his famous line is this: he said, "Every adult still has a child in his heart," right? And what we find is exactly what he said. So basically, what I'm trying to say, because it doesn't matter how old are you, because of your gene, you have the ability to produce cluster 5 and 8 proteins. The only reason your plasma is getting lower in terms of the concentration of 5 and 8 is because those 5 and 8 proteins are being enveloped in the platelet and in the exosome. Okay? Anyway, so the free proteins is not enough. In the free protein is not there, 5 and 8 is not there. But if you take the blood and separate out the platelet and separate out the exosome and break them, you can collect 5 and 8. So this is the technology we come out with. Okay, so this is every adult has a child inside. So we find out, finally we come up with a technology that we can produce cluster 5 and 8 proteins, okay, using your own blood. So this is how we call it. We can make the old plasma younger by increasing the cluster 5 and 8 proteins. So we can do all these measurements, so you can see all the cluster 5 and 8 proteins has increased. And we also do the animal studies. Then we go to the clinics, okay? So for every patient we treated since 2018, for the past 6 years, we have been continuing to do this type of tests on their plasma. And what you can see is that after you do one treatment and the activity of their plasma begin to increase, and you can compare them, then you can see that the increase in their plasma activity can last for about 10 weeks. And if you continue to do this, each circle indicating one treatment, and some of you already did 3, some of you did 6. And this is a gentleman who did 3 treatments without much progress. But after the 5 treatment, the 6th treatment, all of a sudden it jumped up for 120 times. And this is what we see in the Jakarta clinic too, right? Yeah. And if we do it, we follow this patient for about 2 years. So you can see the dynamics of the plasma activity with the treatment, okay? So the other cases are, these are stroke patients can come in with a wheelchair, and he did many sessions of this. So he can come back to playing tennis. And these are the cases for the diabetics. So you can see he got about 3 treatments. So the HbA1c dropped from 16.5 to 6.5, okay? It's a big change. And for the chronic renal disease, and most of the patients can have an increase of eGFR by about 15 to 20%. And these are many other indications, including these are the Alzheimer. He can barely draw the figure, and after one session, he's able to draw it, okay? So this is what the plasma exchange can do. So what I'm trying to tell you before this is just like we have created one clinical program which can simulate the effect of heterochronic fibrosis in the clinic. So we call it anti-aging plasma conditioning therapy. So young plasma, we make the old plasma younger, okay? This is the technology. So what I told you has been written up and has been conditionally accepted by a journal already, Aging US. And this is the more detailed explanation about the technology. So basically, we use serial bloodletting and the serial addition of the autologous young plasma analog. We can increase the activity of the plasma. So by now, I think it's time to explain this. This is the traditional or the current stem cell therapy. Basically, somebody has a problem, then you tell them, say, stem cell is good for you, so you just infuse them and you go back and keep on doing this. And with our technology, we have a benchmark. You can identify whether it's who should get the stem cell therapy and who should not get the stem cell therapy. And if you incorporated our technology into the autologous stem cell culture, then it becomes more and more complicated. But hopefully we have the chance to work with the doctors here, so we can combine the plasma rejuvenation technology with this current stem cell technology and make it more effective. So this is the overall effect of the young plasma conditioning, okay? So you can mostly decrease the chronic inflammation, improve the renal function, it become more sexually active and things like that, yeah. And these are the subjective, objective findings and the potential complications of this method. Indication for patient who has high risk for cardiovascular disease, and somebody already has a chronic disease, or some people has cancer and is on remission and want to stay healthier. So what we are doing, I think, in short, is probably is beneficial to whoever is interested in staying young and healthy. So the future, where's Jonathan? Yeah, he was asking me what is the future. But anyway, so you can remember. So the future will be in continue to increase indication for this technology. So we want to apply this not only just for heart problem or for the lung problem. You want to apply it for diabetics or for liver cirrhosis and things like that. And we will continue to increase more and more formulations, and we will be trying to make the measurement more predictable by measuring the concentration before and after each treatment. And after we do that, then we'll be applying for IND, investigational new drug, okay? So you can also use the technology to do stem cell therapy. And like what I just showed you, right? Some of the patients, after the treatment, the survival rate or the cell growth rate of the stem cell can increase by 120 times. So that means by doing two courses of the program, the number of stem cells available to you will be increased by 120 times. So you can pay a little bit of money and gain a lot of the effect of the stem cells. So this is, and the next thing will be on the PRP, okay? And like what we talked about during the lunch, right? The current PRP is good, but it's not stable. And the literature has shown that if the patient is young, less than 45 years old, the PRP treatment for the hair, for the skin, or for the joint is fairly effective. But for patient who is more than 45 years old, usually is not as effective. So with our technology, we can take the blood of the patient who is over 45 years old and make the plasma younger in the test tube, and then add it to the platelet and inject it. So that would come up with something called a young PRP technology. And these are the indications of the potential applications. And some of the doctors, you might want to take a picture of this. So if you're on the list somewhere, then we are in a position to collaborate with you, okay? So on top will be orthopedic indication and the pain indications, and cardiology, neurology, gynecology for the ovarian aging, and the plastic surgery for wound healing, hair, alopecia, and the facial aging, okay? So, and what we are also working on is we try to make the process more reliable by adding up the automation technology. And the reason, one of the reasons we are happy to working with Amin is that because you have a lot of experience in the automation, in the making of the automobiles. And one more thing is we are also applying this technology in the lab. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is this. So if I take out 100 cc of blood and I will infuse it 100 cc to you, I'm only exchanging 5% of your total plasma volume. So every time I just improve it by 5%. So if you have a bottle of water, I pull out 5%, adding a teaspoon of 5%. So it's very slow, right? So, but if we using the same volume of the plasma in an organ, like a kidney, okay, or like a lung, outside of the body. So what we'll be doing is we'll be increase the strength or the efficacy of the aging reversal by 100 times. Now, because kidney, the weight of kidney is only probably 1/200th of the total human body, right? So by doing this, we are applying this in the lab and like other people in the these are people in the Colombia, and what we are trying to do is that this is what we are able to do now. We can salvage the damaged kidney and make it younger, and they can make the damaged lung and make it younger in 36 hours. And we can do that in about 10 treatments. So it will take about 2 days. Okay? So this can be done now. And eventually, the technology will be used, applied to the brain, okay? So the future, I think, is up to you guys, the young people's imagination, okay? And so for the young doctors here, you're welcome to join the new field of interventional regenerative medicine. And for the young non-doctors, you are welcome to participate in the industry of salvaging organ and saving the dead brain, things like that, okay? Yeah. And I think this year is 2024. I think the technologies begin to become more mature now, okay? So I think this book will be the dawn of the interventional regenerative medicine. So this is, you can Google this. You can find this procedure. We started back in 1992. So 2024 minus 1992. So it took us 32 years to come up with those data, okay? So here is the movie. I'm sorry it's in Chinese, but I can't make it into English in time. So basically what he's saying is that the blood can cause a lot of disease. Yeah, if you can make the blood younger, you can reverse the aging, and all of this has a scientific evidence, and you can repair the damaged blood vessel, and you can make the heart and the brain younger, and can prevent the aging. And right now, the service, our company has a laboratory in Taipei, which serves Taichung and Jiayi, and we also have a lab in Jakarta, and we have a lab in Shenzhen in China, and Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Phnom Penh. So anyway, so with this, I come to the end of my talk, and this is my book. And if you are interested, you can come to me, and I can tell you how you can get it, and maybe you can have a couple of them during your annual party, Christmas party, as a present. Okay. So anyway, so this will conclude my talk, and I think I finished it in time. Thank you very much.
To honorable our speaker today, thank you, Professor Fushipan. So the next agenda is about signing procession of MoU National Hospital with Lotusbio Technologies Ltd Inc. So please take the place to the in front of stage. Mohon berkenan hadir di tempat yang sudah disediakan kepada Presiden Komisaris Rumah Sakit National Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Angkok Bin. Kemudian CEO Rumah Sakit National Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Ang Hoi Tiong. Kemudian CIO Rumah Sakit National Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Alexander Ang. Dan juga Profesor Fushipan, MD PhD, untuk dapat melakukan proses penandatanganan kerjasama. Mohon berkenan ikut turut serta kepada Direktur Rumah Sakit National Hospital Surabaya, kepada Dr. Hendra Hendri, Spesialis Obgyn, disilahkan. Baik, prosesi penandatanganan kerjasama MoU National Hospital Surabaya dengan Lotusbio Technologies Ltd Inc akan ditandatangani secara bersama kepada Presiden Komisaris Rumah Sakit National Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Angkok Bin, CEO Rumah Sakit National Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Ang Hoi Tiong, kemudian CIO Rumah Sakit National Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Alexander Ang, kemudian Profesor Fushipan, MD PhD, dan juga Direktur Rumah Sakit National Hospital Surabaya, Dr. Hendra Hendri, Spesialis Obgyn. Baik, terima kasih kepada Presiden Komisaris Rumah Sakit Nasional Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Ang Kok Bin, CEO Rumah Sakit Nasional Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Ang Hoi Tiong, CIO Rumah Sakit Nasional Hospital Surabaya, Bapak Alexander Ang, Profesor Fushipan, MD PhD, dan juga Direktur Rumah Sakit Nasional Hospital Surabaya, Dr. Hendra Hendri, Spesialis Obgyn. Bapak Ibu hadirin, tiba di penghujung acara. Terima kasih kami ucapkan kepada seluruh undangan yang telah mengikuti prosesi penandatanganan kerjasama sekaligus menjadi penutup acara Head Talk bersama Profesor Fushipan MD PhD pada sore hari ini. Dengan senang hati kami ucapkan terima kasih atas antusiasme dan perhatiannya. Selamat sore.